This image looks like it was taken on a high-end professional camera, right? Like something that would cost $5,000 or $10,000. Well, it wasn't. It was taken on a standard, everyday camera, and the original single photo actually looked like this. Are you tired of your photos looking broken like this? You find a perfect spot, wait for magical light, and your heart sinks when you look at your screen. The sky is a flat, blown out white, where your gorgeous foreground is a dark, muddy silhouette. For years, we've been told to just mash the automated merge to HDR button because the software will figure it out. But here's a secret. Automated HDR often produces weird, crunchy, overprocessed images with radioactive skies, strange glowing halos, and bizarre color shifts that scream amateur. Today I'm going to show you a manual blending trick that pros have used for decades to fake a much better camera sensor and guarantee a perfect shot every time. You'll learn how to combine the best parts of two exposures to capture every last bit of detail step by step. Stay with me and you'll never have to choose between a good sky and a good foreground ever again. Before we grab our gear, we need to understand the culprit ruining your shots: dynamic range. Think of it this way: your eyes are amazing. At any given moment, they can look at a bright sky and instantly adjust to see all the details in the dark foreground below. A modern digital camera can typically only capture about 12 to 14 stops of that light range in a single photo. Our eyes, on the other hand, can capture about 20 stops, or roughly 256 times as much light. When a scene has a ton of contrast, the dynamic range is just too much for the sensor to handle. It forces you to choose. If you expose for the sky, your foreground turns black. If you expose for the foreground, the sky becomes a blown out white mess. Automated HDR tries to fix this by tone mapping and guessing what the image should look like. Pros ditch automated HDR because it steals your control. By manually taking two specific photos and blending them ourselves, we take complete control over every pixel. Success starts in the camera. We need to capture our raw ingredients using a technique called exposure bracketing. We're going to take two photos of the exact same scene, seconds apart. Here are the absolute rules for the field. Use a sturdy tripod. This is non-negotiable. Even tiny movements cause ghosting and make blending a nightmare. Shoot in manual mode or aperture priority. You need total control. Lock your aperture and ISO. Set your ISO to its base value, usually 100 or 200 for a noise-free image. Pick an aperture like f8, f11, or f16 for sharpness front to back. Keep these the same to ensure consistent depth of field and grain. Use manual focus. Set your focus once and switch to manual so it doesn't shift between shots. Shoot in RAW. RAW files contain uncompressed sensor data, giving maximum flexibility for blending and color grading. Use a timer or remote. Trigger the shutter with a 2-second timer to avoid any camera shake. Shot number 1, the dark exposure. For the sky, adjust your shutter speed faster until the sky looks perfectly exposed. Use your histogram to ensure the data is on the right side, but not slammed against the wall, which means your highlights are clipped. The foreground will be dark, and that is exactly what we want. Shot number 2, the bright exposure for the foreground. Without touching the aperture or ISO, slow down your shutter speed to expose for the foreground. Check the histogram to ensure the shadows aren't crushed against the left wall. The sky will be totally blown out to white, which is perfect because we already captured it in the first shot. Most cameras have an auto exposure bracketing feature that can snap 3 to 5 shots at different shutter speeds automatically to make this even easier. Before we jump into the digital darkroom for the fun part, if you're getting value out of this, do me a huge favor and hit that like button. It helps the channel reach more photographers just like you. Make sure to subscribe for more pro techniques. Shoot in RAW. I am actually going to show you exactly why this is a non-negotiable rule right now on screen. I shot these example photos on a $400 Canon Rebel, and unfortunately I no longer have the original RAW files. So I am going to demonstrate this Photoshop technique using the JPEGs When we get into the software, you're going to see some obvious flaws and harsh edges pop up during the mask blend. I'm putting a text warning on the screen so you don't miss it. This happens because JPEGs throw away huge amounts of data and compress those smooth, natural light transitions into sharp cliffs. Photoshop just doesn't have enough underlying data to create a clean blend with a JPEG. RAW files contain all that uncompressed sensor data. That data is exactly what allows the software to build a perfectly smooth, invisible mask and do the heavy lifting for you without hours of manual cleanup. So watch the demo, learn the steps, but learn from my missing files here. The digital darkroom prep. Let's get our hands dirty. First, we prep our RAW files in Lightroom or Adobe Camera Raw. Select your bracketed photos, head to the Lens Corrections panel and check Enable Profile Corrections, and remove Chromatic Aberration to fix distortion and color fringing. Click Sync to apply these tweaks perfectly across all your shots. Right-click the selected images, go to Edit In, and choose Open as Layers in Photoshop. The Photoshop Blend Luminosity Masking. Once in Photoshop, you'll have your images stacked as layers. Step 1, align in order, make sure the dark exposure for the sky is the top layer and the bright exposure for the foreground is on the bottom. Select both layers, go to Edit, Auto Align Layers, leave it on Auto, and hit OK to ensure perfect pixel for pixel alignment. Step 2, the secret sauce mask, we are going to punch a hole through the dark foreground of the top layer to reveal the bright foreground underneath. We could just paint with a soft brush, but that can be imprecise. Instead, we use luminosity masking, which uses the image's own light to create a custom fit stencil. Select the top dark layer and click the Add Layer Mask icon, the rectangle with a circle. Click the white layer mask thumbnail to make sure it's active. Go to the top menu, Image, Apply Image. Set layer to merged, channel to RGB, and blending to multiply at 100% opacity, then hit OK. Your mask is now a black and white version of your image. Press Ctrl+I or Command+I on Mac to invert the mask. Instantly, the perfectly exposed sky seamlessly blends with the perfectly exposed foreground along natural lines without halos. The Pro Refinements. The blend is technically perfect, but let's make it artistically beautiful. Refine the horizon, zoom in on the horizon line. Select your layer mask and grab a soft, round brush tool set to 0% hardness. Drop the opacity down to 10 or 20%. Paint with white to bring back dark sky or black to reveal more bright foreground, allowing you to subtly perfect the transition. Dodging and burning, add dimension by creating a new layer above your images. Go to Edit Fill and choose 50% gray. Set this layer's blend mode to overlay, making it invisible. Paint on it with a soft black or white brush at about 5% opacity to add light and shadow, guiding the viewer's eye non-destructively. The final color grade, select your top layer and press Ctrl-Shift-Alt to create a merged copy of everything below it. With this new raw base layer selected, go to Filter Camera Raw Filter. Here you can add a subtle S-curve for punch, warm up the sky colors, add clarity to the foreground texture, and apply vignette to unify the image. Let's look at the difference. We started with compromised, single raw files where the foreground was a black hole, where the sky was blown out. We avoided the flat, weird contrast of an automated HDR merge. Instead, we used a smarter technique to combine two shots into one spectacular, dynamic image that looks real. We didn't use a better camera. We elevated our craft. We made the leap from a camera operator relying on algorithms to an artist in complete command of shaping the light. If you found this helpful, hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed for more professional results. Get out there and start creating images that represent your vision. To dive deeper, click the link in the description for my books page on my website. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Let's keep it simple.